All right, what's going on, guys? Aesthetics Nutrition back with another video. So I want to talk about how starting a nutrition business, nutritional coaching, and personal training completely drastically changed the course of my life beyond what I thought was possible, right? So I got into personal training really early on. I got certified at 18. I started working for a gym. I'm not going to name any gyms. I don't want to do that. But I started working for a gym pretty early on, and I was discouraged by the fact that, one, they didn't really care about what the personal trainer knew. They didn't really care about the results of the client. They kind of just, it was a sales position. Let's be honest. Personal training, I noticed that in commercial gyms, it's literally a sales job. Like, you have people who are certified that don't really know much, but they are pushing these crazy prices on people. It was all about selling, right? That's all you learned about. They didn't actually care about the actual client that was being helped. So I found that to be kind of ridiculous, and I didn't like that from day one. I also noticed that without knowing what these clients were doing as far as nutrition goes, it was kind of like shooting in the dark, like they would tell me, oh, I'm eating this, I'm eating that, but nobody's consistent, right? Everybody just says whatever. People grossly underestimate how much they're eating. They underreport. That's a known fact already. So people kind of weren't seeing results. And if you look around the gym that you go to right now, look around all gyms, you'll see a lot of trainers, right? And a lot of clients that come in day after day after day, they don't change. So what is really going on? So I quickly learned when I started PT around 18, 19, that one, I needed to find a way to do this myself for independently, not through a gym, because we could also get into the fact that gyms will take like 70% and give you 30%. Some gyms do 60-40. If you're lucky, you land a 50-50. Regardless, they're taking everything. So they're destroying you. So the trainer is not even doing that well. You can have a lineup of 12 clients back to back to back all day, and you're really not making as much as, people think you would be. So there's a lot of, negatives that I have to say about that. I love personal training, but I don't want to, just BS. I want to tell you the truth. So that was the biggest issues that I found with personal training. So I started doing it independently really early on. Obviously, it was tough because gyms don't like outside trainers. So, there was issues with gyms where they were having a problem with me training clients there. I started to do private at home training, right? That is where I found that I had the most success, because if I go to your home and, I trained you there, nobody could really say anything. Like, what are they going to say, right? I would even bring the equipment. But I started to still notice that only the clients that I helped them with nutrition, or I gave them some kind of meal plan, were making the best progress. The results were happening. So I slowly started to transition out of personal training. I still personal train a few clients. I only keep it to a certain amount, maybe like 6 to 8 at a time, because I don't really want to do any more than that with all my workload and everything. But the nutrition, I realized that this is where the magic was. This is where the progress was happening. This is where people were seeing the biggest changes and improvements to their body. So I started to think about ways that I can start helping people with nutrition more so. So I got a couple of certifications. I talked to a few people. At the time, I was competing as a bodybuilder myself. I was obsessed. Eat, sleep, train. That's all I did. I was working with a guy named Dave Palumbo. I pretty much got mentored by him. I worked with him for almost a decade. I also, worked with John Meadows, Matt Porter, both of them, unfortunately not here anymore. Rest in peace. I learned a lot from them. I just got obsessed with everything related to the bodybuilding world. So I started doing diets on my own, and I took what I learned and I formed it into my own methods. Early on, I was basically doing diets at the gym on paper, and I would literally write it on paper and then I'd hand it to people, and they'd pay me. It was ridiculous, And thinking about it now, it sounds funny. So, I would come home. I remember I would write down, oh, this. I'd write meal 1, meal 2, blah, blah, blah. I'd get to the gym. I'd give them the paper. They pay me, and then that was it. And that's how it started. And slowly I started to gain a following of people that wanted to do what I was doing. They wanted to bodybuild too, or they wanted to compete. They wanted to try to get really lean. A lot of people just don't want to compete, but they just wanted to get in better shape. And they realized that I was able to get them there. So I started to get a lot of clients, and I realized this is where it's at. Personal training is kind of like, you're limited on how many clients you can take on. There's a lot of time to invest into it. The diets, it's a little more manageable. You can really scale it bigger. So, fast forward a couple of years, and I have a lot of people who are messaging me, a lot of clients starting up, a couple of packages being sold every week. Everything was kind of going well. And then social media came out and Instagram started, and I was very early on Instagram promoting fitness and nutrition and posting clients. And at the time, I think it was 2011 or 2012, nobody was posting that stuff. Nobody had fitness accounts. Nobody was like an online coach except for people in the industry, the bodybuilding community. A lot of people weren't really doing diets. There was some trainers, but not many people were even posting fitness stuff. It was more like Instagram was just about photos. I don't know if people remember that. But so I got kind of like a head start. And as the years passed, I noticed that social media was the name of the game, right? People would just message you, and then things like Venmo, PayPal, Cash App started popping up, Zelle, and you were able to just receive money directly, and then I'd send them the plan via email, and there was no communication. I wasn't not even talking to these people face to face ever. It was coming very easily. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. I'm onto something here. I just kept pushing, and eventually I devoted full time to this. I'd never worked a job since I was like, I don't even know. It's been a long time since I worked an actual job, because I didn't need to, because this was paying the bills. This was doing everything I needed. And if you fast forward now a couple of more years to like the last couple of years, it's gotten to the point where it's somehow still manageable for me, but I have room. So I never turn anyone away. I have a lot of clients, and this business really got to a point that I didn't think was possible, but that's pretty much how it all started. Started in the gym, writing meal plans on paper, accepting cash, in the gym. There was no social media. There was none of that. Setting up the diets, you had to do it all, using like these food books about calories, because there was no MyFitnessPal. There was none of that stuff. So, like I said, nutritional coaching changed the game, because for me, I never thought I could make it into a full-blown career in business to the point that it would get really big and you just, you do really well. A lot of people underestimate what's possible. And the day I stopped personal training, like consistently, like I still take on a few people, like I said, but the day I stopped doing it full-time was, I've told this story before on my Instagram, but there was a day that I went to work. My son was just born, and I was kind of stressed out already as it is. We were barely sleeping. I had a 12-hour day booked, back to back client, right? No break at all. And I remember just feeling like miserable. And I was in the car, I had a mental breakdown. I went in, I worked, I got through the entire day. And mind you, a 12-hour day of just personal training client after client is brutal. For those that have done it, they know, it's not everything it's hyped up to be. It sounds fun because you're doing what you love, but it can really drain you, especially because you're lifting weights, you're moving things around, you're setting the bar for them, the form, you're showing people the movements. So it's a lot of activity. And here's the thing. Here's when everything completely changed. My mindset completely shifted. I leave work, right? Mind you, I probably made at the time like 400 to 450 for that 12-hour day, which is decent, right? It's not terrible. But I get to my car, I open up Instagram, and I'm looking, and I noticed there was like 4 or 5 transactions from my website. I hadn't even messaged these people. I hadn't been in communications with them. They just came across my IG. They came across my website. They purchased plans, and I made over $2,000 that entire day while I was killing myself in the gym. And that's the day I realized, what the hell am I doing? If I just put all my efforts into this, I can do so much better instead of wasting 12 hours of my day feeling miserable. Like I said, I love personal training, but you're limited and you have to really kill yourself if you want to make a lot of money. So nutritional coaching was a no-brainer. So, I just wanted to give people a little story about how the nutritional coaching and the business started for me, where it started to where it is today. Today I have over 400 clients actively. It's all online. It's amazing. People are purchasing plans every day. My website, it's pretty I hooked it up a couple of times. I rebranded the business like 3 or 4 times. But where it is today, I'm extremely happy. I have no complaints. The entire journey, I wouldn't do anything different. I know people say I would have did this, I would have did this. I probably would have been more aggressive and started doing nutritional coaching sooner, but I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I am where I am today at the right pace, and I'm happy about it. So that's how nutritional coaching changed the game for me, and how it can change the game for you. This is why I teach a class on how to, teach people how to become coaches. So, guys, if you're somebody who's into fitness, you're into nutrition, this stuff is fascinating to you, you should think about a career in this field, because the potential is limitless. It's endless. There's so much potential. People are always going to want to lose weight. That's not going away. People want to lose weight. That's the number one thing. People always gain weight. They want to lose weight. So you're always going to be, there's going to be work for you no matter what. So, all right, guys, that's a little story about how my business started. A little different today, not really an informative video, but no one really knows anything about how my business started. I've never really talked about it. I've said some stuff on Instagram, but nothing like in detail like this. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and yeah, that's it. I'll see you next time. I'm out.